3, 2, 1, go.
Hello. This is Ignacy from Portal Games.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 251, and we are recording on October 13th, 2022. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network, and it's Post-Essen spiel. I am dog-tired and jet-lagged, having trouble focusing on major projects that I need to get done over the next few weeks while I'm actually home for a change. But I can take solace that I am feeling this way, and so is Tom Vassell.
Oh yes, he is coming to America as well, so he has a jet lag as well.
Oh,
but
yeah.
If you are not in the best shape right now, maybe I can grab you and get out of you the information. What are you doing for Asmodee? Like there was some gossip, some rumors. Like, are you?
What?
You were saying at our last episode something. So I don't know. How are you doing, sir? You are having a real difficult jet lag, or you are just saying like that?
I want to stop for a moment here. What did I say something on 250 while we were there?
There are some rumors coming.
I said this, or somebody said this.
The whole industry is talking.
So well, no comment until the end of the show, maybe. How about that?
Okay.
How about that? We'll just...
And how are you feeling?
I am exhausted. Literally every night around dinner time, my head starts. What?
3 weeks with 3 weeks outside home. This is correct. First Vegas, then Essen.
I was two full weeks. Flew to Vegas, of course, and then directly from Vegas over to Germany and then back home. So that was a total of 3 weeks. I'm sorry, a total of 2 weeks out of the house. And the first you're jet lagged in one direction, then you're jet lagged in another direction. So
I hear you. Hear you.
So it's been interesting, but I mean, we'll talk about how Essen was in a minute. And of course, if people haven't listened yet to our episode 250, which was a tiny little episode that we shot from Ignacy's meeting room at the Portal Games booth before we went to the party in his booth for his staff, go listen to that. And we talked about some of the highlights that we had seen there. In the meantime, tell us what is now happening at Portal Games 1 week, not even a few days after you got back from.
Yeah, we came back safe from Essen. And now, of course, the team is getting all these waiting tasks, all these waiting emails, all these things that we work in the industry. And I guess this is true for all industries. When you go to the show, whatever industry it is, there is so many follow-ups that you have to do after the show because you met with tens of people having business meetings, and now you have to do a follow-up what you discussed. So my team is now catching up with all the topics. I landed nice and smooth to the development, and today I had another playtest of Thorgal. So not much me to follow up because I was not doing business meetings, not many business meetings this year, but my team, of course, is now catching up. For for our customers, for our fans, the most important information is about our new releases, Portal Games new releases. So reminder to all of you, Neuroshima Hex Pirate, the new army is already out. You can go to your local game store and ask for the copy or grab it from my website. The new army for Neuroshima Hex app also over the release is called Beasts. Is absolutely amazing. It has a friendly fire. You attack your own units. You need to focus when you put your tiles on the board because they're attacking each other, and it's a nice puzzle to solve. And in upcoming days, next week on October 20th, we have 2 premieres, 2 releases. Basilica, 2-player game. So if you're playing with your spouse, it is a perfect game for you. Basilica, and we have Wrath of the Lanterns of the. This is a solo campaign for Empires of the North. Both of them were pre-released at Essen. Both of them had a great feedback already. We see it on the social media, and now it will be officially released. So go to your local game store, to your favorite local game store, or to your favorite online game store, and ask for Basilica for 2 players, or Wrath of the Lanterns, or Lighthouse, Wrath of the something. for your solo play. And then the next release from Portal Games will be the game that we were showing at Gen Con, that is Brazil. As with every single release this year, we had some adventures with logistics, so it is far later than I hoped when we were presenting the game at Gen Con, but I hope that all of you who played Brazil at Gen Con, who had this demo, you remember that the gameplay is amazing and you will now look for the copy. But we will discuss it in the upcoming episodes. And what's happening in the office for all of you who watch this show on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel, you can see that I'm recording from the brand new office. So right after Essen, when I came back from Essen, I started moving and I'm now in the new office that is like, I would say eight times bigger than the previous one.
So, so I can ask you a question. So you're in the same building and all. You just literally went to another office space for you Correct. Alone.
Yes. Do you see that?
This is for you alone.
Yes.
That's like as big as my house. That office. What do you need an office that big? Come on.
I thought that if I have on my business card the CEO and owner of Portal Games, I deserve like a bigger office. And on being serious, I combined my job, that is working at Portal Games as developer, with my passion, that is collecting board games and comic books and role-playing games. And I created an office that is one big games room and the office space at the same time. So for the past 3 days, I was bringing all these games, all these boxes, all these role-playing games. So I'm tired as hell, but I'm also very, very happy.
Very cool. You do have to change your lighting a little bit right now.
Yes, I see.
Yeah, you're a little dark there because it was perfect before. Then you had to stop playing with the camera. So, you know, get Marek back in here.
I will figure it out for the next week.
What else you got? Anything else?
That's all, guys. We are tired after Essen. I strongly recommend you check out Basilica, check Wrath of the Lighthouse if you play solo. And let's move to what's happening when Steven finally is at home.
All right. By the time you hear this, you have 1 week and 1 week only. And don't complain if you miss this, to go check out Podfather The Cruise, January 7th through 15th. We have to shut down the registrations for the cruise because we have to release the inventory back to Royal Caribbean. So please go over to the Podfather Gaming group, and you can see the discussion there. But here's the easiest way, and you see all the information directly on one site, and you can sign up with all the prices. Go to tabletop.events, click on the top left, it says conventions, and then search for Podfather, and the cruise will show up. Click on it, and you get all the information on it. It's 8 nights going to South America out of Fort Lauderdale for charity. I just found out last night, because I don't get information like every time somebody signs up, but we went from only 14 cabins booked a few weeks ago to 21 cabins booked. So that little bit of free advertising, courtesy of Board Game Geek, really helped us. I'm so excited. Sort of 20 was Mike. If I get 20, that's a success. I'm very happy. We're at 21. Well, hopefully we'll pick up a few more between now and the 26th, 25th of October. That's the last day that you can sign up. So I think this is dropping on the 19th. So you'll literally have 1 week to go. Go talk to your significant other, just your buddy, whoever it is, bring them. Let's have fun, socializing, a little gaming too, of course. We have our own dedicated meeting space for gaming and partying and seeing Curacao and seeing Aruba. Going to be fun. Tabletop.events, click conventions, search Podfather. You'll find it. Any questions, reach out to me. We'll get you the answers on this. Okay, so we've already talked about Essen basically on the last show, but that recap was great. We talked about how much fun it was. It was so interesting to be there as a spectator, just a gamer, essentially. And while I did take meetings, my meetings were like with Ignacy to hang out and just talk about things. We had the meetup. That's something to really talk about. Like here, everybody who was there, who likes Board Games Insider, not everybody, but we had about, I'd say 20 people show up over the course of the hour. That's about right, Ignacy, right? I kept taking pictures of the different groups that were still there. Some people stayed the hour, some people didn't. Cookies were presented to Ignacy. beer was given to Steven. That was very nice of you. I'd like to go on record that more beer was given to Steven than cookies were given to Ignacy. So I believe I won. I don't know what I win for that, but I win the beer and cookie challenge.
You win having Grumpy Ignacy on the show. Guys, what the hell? How it happened that on my soil, European soil, the American won the contest? Like, what the hell?
I think that was part of it. They get to see you more, I guess, sort of.
Okay.
So I'm only there once a year at most in Europe, right, for them to see me. But it was amazing, and I drank. We drank some beer right there, which was not particularly cold, but it was nice to do that with all the fans. Ate some cookies while we were there.
Table also drink some beer.
When you open a warm beer, sometimes something happens, like a gusher. We had some gushers, and we on the very expensive table.
Exactly, I was renting for the buffet.
On the 1,100 euro table that you could like buy there or buy from the company, and they had a little sign there. We had, yes, but we cleaned it up. We cleaned it up nicely, so the table's fine. You should buy that table from, what was the name of the company? Wood Table. It was, I forgot the name, but we should give them a shout out. It was very, very lovely. Other things in my life, they rescheduled the Artemis. Well, you know what? I take a step back from that. I got to go back to the World Series of Board Gaming. What an incredible event in Las Vegas. It was very successful. Now, the attendance was only in the 500-600 range, but ran so smoothly. They're coming back next year. Somebody at the end there, his name was Hans Lee, and he got a check, one of those big checks for $25,000. So, it was amazing in every way. So I would really encourage everybody to go over to the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel, because you'll see my coverage. And that includes links over to the World Series of Board Gaming YouTube channel, where they put up lots of the finals, and they put up the live streamed commentary on some of the finals, the ring events, the semifinals, and the final table. And I did the live commentary for Seven Wonders, for Acquire, and during the final game for Dune Imperium with Tom and several others. We all took chances, or we all rotated out of that one. So if you ever thought of that it would be weird to do commentary on a board game, I thought it was going to be weird, but it really worked well. So go check that out on my channel.
I want to mention that I talked with Tom at Essen about this event, and I want to give a shout out. I wasn't there, but I want to give a shout out what I was told about, that the atmosphere during the games was very friendly. There was a competition, but extremely friendly. People were even helping out each other, explaining rules to each other. Even though this is your opponent, they were helping to explain the rules. So kudos for having this extremely fair play competition.
Great sportsmanship absolutely was shown during the whole thing, even though there was money on the line.
Bravo.
Artemis won. Finally, they've rescheduled it to November 14th. Guess what? I'm still going to be in Dallas for BGGCon, but I'm considering changing my flight one day earlier so I get back so I can actually see it. The launch time is going to be on the 15th, maybe it is, but whatever it is, it's like the day I was going to return. The launch time is in the middle of the night. It's at 12:07 a.m. But I would drive up, hang out, watch it, because I got to see this. This is an epic thing. So stay tuned for my coverage of that. I'm still excited. Next things are BGGCon, really, and PAX Unplugged. Going to them. We'll talk more about them as they get there, of course. Finally, and I'm sorry I'm running a little long. I got to give some shout outs to two crowdfunding campaigns that I've got a lot of energy invested into, because they're friends of mine. I've been mentioning Russ Wakeland from the D6 generation, just one of the most pleasant, wonderful people I've ever met in the podcasting world. He's already funded the game called Grim Dark Dungeon Master, and it's a great take on the dungeon crawler. Check it out. I've already mentioned it on a few podcasts. Already funded, but looks great. The new one I want to mention is from Pine Box Entertainment. David Orange. I've known David Orange as a math trader on BGG for 10 years before there was a Stronghold Games. That's how long I've known this guy. Very wonderful guy. And he's gotten himself invested and involved in Pine Box Entertainment. And they're now running 7th Sea City of Five Sails, the expandable card game. So a living card game, right? They can't say that. So it's an expandable card game. They can bring out decks over time. Looks beautiful. It's like Pirates on the Seas and other interests. I mean, I've got some of the decks here that he sent me. Quickly showing you guys some stuff if you're watching it. Looks beautiful. They're bringing back a game from back in the day. Between now and the next episode, I'm going to go and try to talk about this. I'll try to like look at it a little bit more deeply so I can talk more intelligently about it, but looks fantastic. Check out 7th Sea, City of Sails. That one is on Kickstarter. Yes, Ignacy, what do you want?
I have one question and one statement. One question, are you sure this is the redoing of the old CCG? Because I played the old CCG.
It's a reimagining of that.
Okay. And the statement, we are a very friendly podcast. We, as industry veterans, we are okay with giving some shout outs to the new projects, to the new things, but we want, as co-owners of this podcast, make it very clear that these samples of these amazing games have to go to Steven and to Ignacy, so he also has some fun. Not only to Steven. So let's make a very clear statement. Hey,
make
guys.
it very clear. The Europeans consented to you. The Americans consented to me. That's right.
Yes, we can promote you guys, but here's a guy in Poland. He wants
give
to
some love.
well.
Spread the love around.
Is it clear? I think make it clear.
7th Sea, City of Sails, expandable card game on Kickstarter, and Grim Dark Dungeon Master on GameFound. In the meantime, let's get to the event deck. Okay, so in the category of like, crazy things that are happening, in tangential to our industry, Wizards of the Coast sends a D20 into space. And the only reason I saw this is because I read daily. I read this website called space.com. And they basically keep everybody up to date on Artemis 1, on all the probes that are going out there, anything related to space exploration, astronomy, and all of that. So it says here, the iconic 20-sided Dungeons and Dragons die soared close to the astral plane to advertise a new space campaign for the role-playing game. A high-altitude balloon soared to 74,000 feet, which is 14,000 miles, or 22.5 kilometers, before bursting in the stratosphere. You can watch the whole 2-hour journey on YouTube, resplendent with a 3D printed Star Moth Spelljammer ship. So they paid for a flight to put a D20 into the upper atmosphere, basically just about getting into space. And then the balloon explodes and it came back down. I just thought that was an adorable little promotional thing that a company like Wizards of the Coast, which is owned by Hasbro, can actually do. A very expensive thing, I'm sure.
I don't know even what to say. This is very, very silly. Somebody in the marketing of Wizards of the Coast came this idea. Somebody said, okay, let's spend some money. So good for them. Yep.
So Yellow, France has been acquired. A percentage of their shares were acquired by a company called Media Participation Group. And the reason I'm saying it kind of slowly, first of all, the article's in French, and my French isn't that good. In fact, it's non-existent. I did a translate here. But other people that have been talking about this, they have been yelled at by Yellow France, saying that we were not acquired. We still have the control. So it's a merger of the companies, I guess we're going to say. Ignacy, do you have any more information on this merger between Yellow France and Media Participation Group?
I do have, because Yellow is our partner. We do their games in Poland, they do our games in France, so we work closely. But I'm not sure what I can say. So even though I know a little bit more, I will not, say much more than it is said in this information, because I don't know what is actually exactly public. But it is true what you just said. So the media participation has some share now in Yellow, so this is not the full acquisition, and the media participation is a company that has similarly in some degree to the mentioned earlier these big companies like Embracer. They have some IPs, they have some licenses, they have some assets that they can use on the games, with the game. So probably we'll see in the future some new titles from Yellow with some interesting brands. But as I said, we will probably need to wait a little bit more from Yellow to be much more vocal in English, because this is a quite weird situation that this happened and there is no official English statement from Yellow. So let's give them some time to prepare the official statement.
Right. So they're gonna. I mean, I think media participation is at least some kind of a competitor with Hachette, you think, and so therefore they're now acquiring some board game companies to be part of their portfolio. Would you say that is the case, or is it?
That's more common, because they are, as Yellow is arguing, that they were not acquired. This company just gets some of the shares, provide some brands, provide some some value they have, and they will see what will happen with Yellow as they grow. So this is a much more complex and not clear than Asmodee just buying like a Pac-Man all these companies for themselves.
Speaking of Hachette, T Cares, who we actually reported on moving to another company fairly recently, has moved on again, and now they are with a new company. They're with Hachette Board Games, joining Danny Lowe there. So this is just a quick congratulations to T for their moving to a very large company, and they're going to be the new U.S. sales manager. So kudos to them for the new moving within
Absolutely.
within the industry.
Hachette has some good hires. Danny does amazing job for the marketing. You also hype for their games at Gen Con, all these Turing Machine and Northgard and other games. So Danny is doing amazing. I know T from many years when she was a live streamer and she was a reviewer, and now she's part of the industry. So great hire again.
Excellent. So this is an interesting one, I thought. Excuse me. That Seamon is now going to distribute Lucky Duck games, which is a very large company, and Seamon is going to be taking on their distribution in Asia. So Lucky Duck Games products will be exclusively distributed in Asia by Seamon Asia, the company's announced. The deal, which has already begun, includes the countries of China, Japan, Korea, Thailand, Vietnam, the Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, India, Burma, Laos, and Cambodia. Basically, that's every one of the countries that buys any board games, essentially. That's all of the Asian countries that are actually participating in any way in the gaming industry. And the Seamon founder and CEO, David Dowse, pointed out the size of the potential market. Lucky Duck is an incredible company, and we are extremely honored to help bring in an influx of top quality, beloved games to a new part of the world. There's a large English-speaking community in the region, and thanks to this partnership, we are looking forward to supplying them with exciting new gaming experiences. So Seamon, as we talk about them all the time, maybe the second biggest now of the independent companies out there, the biggest of the truly independent ones. They have a big presence in Asia. They're actually located in Asia as their main headquarters. So they're going to be able to take a big company in Europe and North America already and bring them deeper distribution into Asia. Ignacy, is Lucky Duck technically a Polish company, or do they have multiple offices? So it's hard to say that they are a Polish company. Is that right?
Yes, I think they are similar to Portal Games. That they have offices in Poland, they have offices in France, they have offices in America. So I think they have different, similar business model like me. Like this is one owner, obviously, but there's a couple of smaller companies in different countries. And here with that, once again, I have some knowledge.
Oh, good.
But I'm not going to share it because you are not working in the industry anymore. So you can piss off somebody and you are still fine. I'm working in the industry and I cannot piss off somebody. But basically, what I can share is that market in Asia is growing in a rate that is out of the control. Like we are talking about the hundreds of percent of increase of the sales and revenue. And this 5 or 6 or 7 years ago, when you were still working in the industry, you were remembering that the sales in China and in Asia were very small. We were all confused. Such a big continent, such a big country, and the sales were rather small.
Yep.
But we all hope that at some point it will grow, right? So we are in this phase. Like Seamon has spent some of the resources very seriously, trying like to take control, take this, their investment into the Asia, and they are now the only probably company that knows very well this region, knows very well how to distribute there, and now they are signing them more and more other companies, and they are becoming like a major distributor in Asia, and their numbers, as they present to us, because of course we are working with them as well, and they are presenting numbers, and we see our numbers in China as well. It's insane. I can say that it started the board game revolution in Asia started, and it's going to go like a rocket right now upward. So a great move for Lucky Duck Games. Portal Games is already distributed by Seamon for some time, and yes, the new continent is about to discover board games in upcoming years.
Very, very, very interesting. And no, I did not know that it was exploding the way you said it was. So yeah, smaller companies, yes. And I know there's a lot of smaller companies that do listen to this podcast. They may want to discuss, with Seamon, how they can get deeper penetration. I mean, obviously I used PSI, who was able to get us out there selling to various distributors. But if Seamon has already got a network out there, one company doing and distributing might be better. So on the topic of Hasbro launching a crowdfunding campaign on their own platform, of course, they're doing it now for Heroescape, and they've announced Heroescape Age of Annihilation Vanguard Edition, and they put it out on HasbroPulse. But here's the interesting part of this. So we've talked about this. It came out of Gen Con, my interview with Craig Van Ness, who was the original designer, and now redeveloping and increasing what's going on at Heroescape. They're bringing the game back. So let me read what they have here. Heroescape Age of Annihilation Vanguard Edition, a miniatures wargaming system by Avalon Hill, is now up on HasbroPulse for pre-order until November 16th. Avalon Hill first announced the return of Heroescape at Gen Con 2022. The new version of the game features detailed miniatures and modules that allow players to create their own world to do battle in. The core game comes with 5 original factions designed for this version. And they give the names of the factions, not important right now. The game box includes 71 finely detailed miniatures in molded colors according to their affiliations and 50 army cards, as well as an expandable hex-based modular tile terrain system, which features 74 base pieces this is the terrain, 68 wall terrain pieces, and 9 jungle terrain pieces. It also comes with 20 game scenarios to play. The components are backward compatible with the original game, and this game will retail for, drum roll and gasps about to come, $250. So, Ignacy, I've talked very highly about the fact that this game is coming back. I'm excited. The gamers wanted it. Their fan base was huge on this game, but then and they will sell this game at $250. But that's the smallest buy-in to get back into Heroescape. I thought that was a lot, and I'll stop at a lot. It's like, wow.
Few things. So first of all, Hasbro doing their own Kickstarter. We discussed it already previously. This is like super weird. Why they are even care for doing that by themselves? But at this point, if you visit this page, HasbroPulse, this game is not funded, which is like arises a question. Does it mean that there will be no Heroscape? Like they didn't meet the funding goal. Like what the hell? So the website says that their target is 8,000 backers, 8,000 gamers that will support this project. They have 2,400, so they are like 25% of the funding goal. And I have no clue what will happen. We will learn in 1 month because they have still 30 days. But does it mean that they will announce there will be no Heroscape, or they will announce that this funding goal was just a joke? Like, this is like so off the rail at this very moment.
Wow. No, see,
do you see what I'm saying?
That's investigative reporting right there, Ignacy.
You see that? Yes, they can announce that we were not founded, that we know Heroescape. And it's like mind-blowing. Hasbro failing on releasing their own game. Like, this is like, what the hell?
So this is I did not go back and look. When it first came out, I'm like, I'm gonna wait on this. I don't think I'm gonna back it. I don't know, because I do have Heroescape, which I can use when I play with other people, my stuff. Right? If somebody else owns this or something else, I can use my stuff to play. So why do I need to do this right now? I was going to wait, think about it. This dropped like during the World Series of Board Gaming, and now I didn't click on it again. And you're showing that they do have 30 days left, but they have less than a third of the backers that they need. Now, does it mean? Yeah, we don't know if. I don't know if the target means that they won't do it. Like, when you have a crowdfunding campaign and you got a goal, if it doesn't hit that goal, you don't do the game, essentially, right? I mean, everything gets nothing gets collected.
Why they have a goal if the goal is not to produce the game? Like, so what's the goal? Like, what's the purpose of the goal? I'm super confused. It's once again very weird that Hasbro is trying to do what the cool kids, independent publishers are doing, like. Community crowdfunding, this is the thing for the small companies to gather money because they have funds to bring the game. Big gorilla like Hasbro should just release the game and said, here you have. And now they failed to build a community around that. And very interesting. We will learn in 30 days what will happen. If they send a press release, no Heroescape, this will be like news of the year. Hasbro fails to release their own game.
That is really weird. I have no idea, but it looks great, by the way, right? I mean, it absolutely what they're showing looks like it's going to be amazing. The only thing it doesn't have is painted minis like the original, but it just costs a lot to do that, obviously. So
sure.
Anyway, more to come. Oh, wow. That's like a great controversy that you just started right there. I love it.
No, Hasbro started. I just mentioned that.
All right, let's get over now to strategy and tactics. I'm going to remind everybody that we're on the second to last page of questions on the guild. Put some questions up there. Come on. We don't have to run a contest for you to give us questions. You love us. Put some questions up there. I'm sure there's something you want to ask Ignacy, like what color underwear does he like the best? Anyway, Gabriel Perez, who's at Famtis on the Geek, which is one heavy or war game that you are interested in trying? Okay, one heavy game or war game that you're interested in trying. Ignacy, do you?
There is one game that I was publisher, no longer I have rights for this game, and one game that I'm still publisher, and I haven't played these games. This is embarrassing, but we love you. We are transparent with you, our listeners. So here I am sharing the knowledge that I was publisher of Through the Ages. Amazing Through the Ages.
You never played that?
Games, and I never played it. And now I'm the proud publisher of the Mage Knight from WizKids, from Vladak Fatil, both games by Vladak Fatil. And I also haven't played Mage Knight yet. This is on my list, on my bucket list. Then my employee, Greg, Steven knows Greg, promised me that he will teach me personally how to play the game. So these two heavy games from Vladak Fatil, Through the Ages and Mage Knight, are my embarrassing statement.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to say that the one that I would like to play that I have not played, I don't know that it's embarrassing, but he hasn't said what is your embarrassment, just a heavy game. Gaia Project. I have not played Gaia Project. Stronghold could have co-published Gaia Project. It didn't. Maybe should have, but the price just wasn't there. You got to make decisions that are smart. Not only you love the game and you love the concepts and you like the publisher that you're going to work with, you got to make it on price. And the price wasn't there. It was going to be a wildly expensive game, and I would have made like nothing and taken all this risk. But it was played at the World Series of Board Gaming, and I can see the passion for it. But it's a beast of a game. It's a real big game. Ranked number, what is it, 9 on Board Game Geek, something like that. Where is it? Number 9. I'm right. Board Game Geek. So I should try it. I have to have somebody teach me this game and play it slowly with me, but that's the one game.
Perfect.
Marcus Shepard, who's at Marcus Shepard, he says, how important are early ratings and the hotness on BGG for you to market a new game? How do you see the site's influence on the industry in general? It's a proprietary site whose decisions haven't always been transparent. I'm going to disagree with that statement, and I don't understand exactly what he means. So we, as a hobby, need to put a lot of trust in the hands of Aldi, etc. So how important is Board Game Geek ratings and hotness? And do you have what is your view on the site's influence on the industry?
First of all, we don't know. Second of all, I believe it has a lot of influence, and we gave this example 2 or 3 episodes ago when angry backers rated my new game 11 very badly because there was logistic delay and the game was not delivered in time to the backers. And I was going to Essen, the biggest European fair, with the game that the average rating was 5.6. So everyone who doesn't know the drama behind the Kickstarter, everyone who doesn't know that there are some trolls, destroying the rating, when they were checking what's the new at Essen, they will see some crappy game with the rating 5.7, and they were not doing investigation why the rating. They just saw small rating. So for sure, I lost a lot of customers. For sure, I could sell more games, if not these trolling of angry board gamers. So I don't know how influential it is. We don't know the numbers, but for sure I got the hit by the low rating, and it was done by just angry backers. So yes, it is influential.
So you're bringing in a different kind of point here. You're saying the site is very important, but it's the users of the site. It's not Aldi and Lincoln and all the people who run the site. It's the users of the site that could create problems, and we know. Look, everybody, look at me in the eye, everybody. We know there are trolls out there that just like to cause problems. Sad. The internet, if you haven't noticed, creates an anonymity. You know that word, Ignacy, right? It creates this anonymous thing that you can just get on there and say, F you, you suck. I'm going to rate this a 1. When I brought out CO2, the original version of CO2, people went out there and rated it a 1. This is propaganda. People who don't believe in global warming went, this is propaganda. I'm like, it's a game. We're talking about a game about a topical subject. Global warming is a topical subject, and the game is about changing from fossil fuels to energy, to renewable energy. Topical. It happens. Whether you believe in global warming, which you should, it's about something happening. You believe in trolls and orcs and elves? I mean, it's so dumb that people would say like, oh, that's propaganda. It wasn't propaganda. It's a great game by a great designer. We brought the game out. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent here, but the point is that it's the people that might do bad things on the site, not the site. The site is completely transparent. They tell you how those ratings are created. It's called a Bayesian rating system. You can go look that up. It's very, very, very transparent on how ratings are put there and how the hotness goes. So
I can give one more example from the perspective of local publishers. So of course the big market and most of our listeners are from America, but we do localization. So we are releasing the game that was previously released in America, and we are doing the Polish edition of the game. What's happening immediately when we announce the game, that people are going to the Board Game Geek to change the rating. So each time we are announcing that, hey, Portal Games doing that game or that game or that game, immediately in the Facebook comments or on the forum we say, oh, it has only 7.2 on Board Game Geek, it's crappy. Oh, it has only 7.5 on the Board Game. Like, people immediately think that this rating is super important. It is because there is so many people voted on the game, it gives some average perception. But then the customers see, oh, I'm not buying this game, it has only 7.5. And I'm like, really? So yes, it is influential. You as a customers make purchase decision based on the rating of this game, of games on Board Game Geek.
Absolutely. So the next one's by someone with no name on Board Game Geek. It's at GreenCon. Hello. Is there a point at which increased shipping costs from China leads to more games being produced in Europe and the US? And we've talked about this quite a bit. The short answer is various things are going to change the location, of where a game is produced. Shipping costs, certainly, but guess what? Shipping costs from China to the North America or Europe to North America are both very inflated, coming down off the top, but very inflated. So for European companies, if they need games in Europe, printing in Europe, and there's many factories there, becomes a potential to reduce the costs of logistics from Asia to them. For the US, we still can't really print effectively here. So we have to go to Europe and ship, or go to China and ship. And then for the most part, we go to China and do it. Ignacy, anything else on that?
Yeah, so we discussed it so many times. So who was able to move the production to Europe or US? It was not always possible. The good news is that the prices finally are dropping. So for many months we were saying about they're going up and up and up. I'm very happy to report that finally we see some drops of the prices. So I don't know how this trend will take time, but as for now, the prices go a little bit down, and is a good sign for the whole industry and all industries in general.
Correct. All right, last question for the week. Walter Sutkin, who's at Sutkin, he's been a poster many times. After buying the Terraformers big box, I saw some posted pictures of people who had put a simple wash over the tiles, and they came out beautifully. Absolutely. I mean, and that's one of the, very briefly, I'm going to get off this question. I do not paint. I got no talent, and I've got no eyes. But that little, like Ignacy, you're doing the sun drop on
Robinson
Crusoe. I can't wait to get that, man, because it just looks so stunning. That little bit of contrast changes the whole look. Beautiful. So I put a wash on all the tiles and they looked good. But then I dry brushed the oceans and treetops. Then I painted the concrete structures like the mining and vent tiles and dry brushed them. And after that, I painted, edge highlighted, and dry brushed the city tiles. With the skills I gained from putting a simple wash onto tiles, I started painting miniatures. So Ignacy, what have you started doing that you directly attribute Stephen for board game related or otherwise? What have you done? Because Stephen turned me into a miniatures painter. Thank you, Stephen. And Stephen, what has Ignacy introduced you to? Oh, okay. So he's become a miniatures painter because of me and my game at the time, right? On my big box. So he wants to know, Ignacy, what have you started doing directly attributable to Stephen?
I have not started, but I'm trying my best to be much more extrovert like Steven, and not shutting down like I used to. We are a very different person from each other,
yes.
And I love the energy from Steven. And I would not say that he inspires me, because it's hard for me to change, but I like what he's doing. And so, for instance, we did a meetup. That was the first time we did something like that. That was a Steven idea. And I came and I tried my best to not be super grumpy. So this is Stephen, a small change in my life.
And I will say that Ignacy has made me eat more cookies, and that's why I'm gaining weight. No, I think what Ignacy. Yeah, thank you so much. I needed that. You and your engagement. That's going to be the word. The engagement that you make with your fans is fantastic. And I think that I have not even come close to the amount of social media you do, the amount of videos you do. And I'm not going to ever get there, but I've gotten a lot better. Right now, I posted more videos in the last 2 weeks, because that was World Series of Board Gaming.
Yep.
And Essen. I posted more videos and live streams that I did from there than I've done probably, I'm going to say the 6 months before that. Maybe. That includes all of these shows. I was trying to show people what was going on at these two major events, and I succeeded. By the way, everybody in the comments like, thank you so much for doing this. I can't be at Essen. I'm in America, or I can't be at Essen. I have work. I live in Germany, and I can't be there. I've gotten such great feedback on those. So, again, I'm not giving a commercial for my YouTube channel, but that's the thing that you, Ignacy, have given me the impetus to do, the push to do, to get to that with my fans and our
Very
fans.
cool. Very cool.
And now we got to go to play testing. So last week, Ignacy, you asked everybody the question, what's the best unique game or gem that you bought at Essen or Gen Con, something that you purchased at one of these cons that is unique and like nobody else has? So
I'm very proud of this question. I'm super happy with some of your answers, because what I found in your answers was exactly what I wanted. That is games I never heard about. Like, this is like super small games, probably printed in very small print runs. And now, of course, I want to have this game. So it was stupid for me because now I want to have these games in my collection as well. There was a Christian, for instance, says a tiny game called Save Breaker, picked up at Essen 2014. It is a super tight design with just 12 cards. High energy and excitement, high skill level, short rounds. My copy remains treasured. And you guys who listen to this podcast, I love these smart designs. I love these micro games that have just few cards, and designer offers something amazing with these few cards. So now this game, Save Breaker, is on my list to hunt down it somehow. Great choices. I found that Kurt writing about, he said, there are more people that have it, but still quite under the radar, I believe, is Rollercade. I never heard about this game. A very neat game that gets played here quite often. And T-Rex Holiday. And this sounds amazing. T-Rex Holiday.
wow.
That was surprisingly thinky, roll and write. Never heard about this game. So thank you for these recommendations. Thank you on behalf of exhibitors that you found them and you trusted them and you bought these little games, and now you're happy. So thank you for these answers.
And I got one from Peter Haroldson. He said, it only been to Spiel in 2018 and then just happened to demo Cosmic Factory by Gigamic. And it's been a hit ever since in our game club. A 30-minute game, tile drafting, real-time tile laying. At the time, I hadn't heard about it on any podcast or anything. It was a surprise. And now he's just loving it with his group. Morton Moonrod Petter. For me, it was Coffee Roaster, but maybe that no longer counts because Stephen made it famous later on. So my Coffee Roaster was from a small company, and then we got the rights later on. So
very cool.
Very, very cool. Mike Dando says, Jam Sumo, which I got at UKGE a few years ago. I have no idea what that is. Great game by Gavin Birnbaum, who makes the boards by hand himself. Very, very cool. Amazing. And I have to read this from my good friend Marion, who's Mariam ACC, and she says, friendship. Friendship is magic. That's the greatest thing she's found.
Perfect.
That made me feel so good and almost made me cry just now. So you can see that my eyes are actually watering up. They really are. So, Ignacy, I got the question this week, and it is my question to the fans is this: why do you play board games? Surely there are several reasons. So rate the reasons that you like. And for whatever reason, I must have cut off the thing. Rate the reasons that you like to play games in the order you like, in the order you play. I said that really badly. I'll change it before you copy it in. So Ignacy, you go. Why do you play board games? Give me a few reasons.
My silly answer would be to get cookies, because when we play board games, of course, there is a tea and cookies, and I love this. My serious answer would be that, as we all know, I'm an introvert. I don't hang out well with people, and I don't go to the parties, etc. And the board games are a great help for me to interact with the people. Like, this is the reason that I can meet with friends, play board game, have fun. So for all of us, I think that I say on the behalf of many introverts, the board games became the tool to socialize, and this is very important for us in our lives. So I thank board games that I have this chance to go out, yes, and meet with people, and the board game is a pretext, is a reason, and that's how I have a great moments in my life, just laughs and discussions and arguments and betrayals. So thank board games for that.
So, yeah. That's it. My number one reason, by far, 100%, nothing is going to touch the number one reason, is is the social aspects, right? I talk about that all the time, that board games bring us together. And that's why pandemic was so out of control, bad especially for a raging extrovert like myself. I love being around people. That makes me feel better, energizes myself. So number one, being social. Number two is just the interaction on the board and trying to figure out how to do things the best. That doesn't necessarily mean competition, because it's also cooperation, whatever it is, but just to interact in the gameplay and see how the game flow works the best would be my second. Competition in and of itself is pretty far down on my list. I mean, sure, I like to compete, I like to win, but when I leave a table, it's all about that experience. So maybe I put experience itself as the number three thing. Just the experience of being there is the number three thing. I'll try to win, but I want the experience. A lot of my games are what I call experiential games. A lot of my favorite games, right? They're like Betrayal at House on the Hill. The original thing was mostly broken, but just having that experience with gamers, with friends, was why I liked it so much. And a lot of friends wouldn't play with me because they're like, this game doesn't make sense on some levels. Why is the river on the upper floor? Okay, it was a misprint. Don't worry about it. Let's just play the game. It's fun. So that's my reason. And my number one is always going to be the social aspects of gaming. So everybody out there, we ask you, why do you play board games? Surely there are several reasons. So rate some of them from 1 to X and explain if you'd like. Meanwhile, Ignacy is going to create a thread now on Board Game Geek for you to answer our question to you. Please go to the Guild on Board Game Geek and find our play testing thread for this question and post your answer there. So we'll talk about it on the next episode. In the meanwhile, we'll get to final scoring. Thank you so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts, or now watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather Gaming YouTube channel. To ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, you must post them in the correct thread in our Guild on Board Game Geek. And to answer our question to you from our playtesting segment, also go to our Guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this episode's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, so please like us on Facebook. Also, on Facebook, please like Ignacy's page and Steven's page, /PortalGamesUS and /PodfatherGaming. Our websites are portalgamesus.com, podfathergaming.com. Go sign up for the newsletters and have up-to-the-minute information on what's happening, Portal Games and with the Podfather. On social media, you can speak directly to Ignacy and Steven on Twitter and Instagram @PortalGamesUS and @PodfatherGaming. On YouTube, the channel names are Portal Games Movies, Portal Games Gameplays, and the Podfather of Gaming. TikTok, Portal Games US. We hope to see you soon at an upcoming convention. Meanwhile, Board Games Insider, professionally edited by Matthew Jude from This Game is Broken podcast. If you'd like him to edit your podcast, please contact him on Twitter or email at thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. Also, that great voice you hear doing our intro, outro, and in-between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. He can be contacted to do voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. So, Ignacy, I'm actually changing what I wrote down here to something else.
So I'm the only person who knows that.
So don't say what you saw.
Guys,
there.
I know the secret. Now I know the secret.
Do not say what you saw right there. But since you spoiled something in the beginning there, you mentioned something in the beginning, that'll be the little piece that I will mention, is that I had a meeting with Asmodee in Essen. And that's all I'm going to say. And I want everybody to calm down and not think that they're hiring me to become the CEO of Asmodee or something like that. I had a meeting with Asmodee. That's all. That's all
Embracer wants the Podfather of Gaming IP in their catalog.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And, we like to tease people with things here, but we always tell the truth. We give our direct opinions. And That's it. You'll may or may not hear more in the future. Who knows what's happening? Little tidbits as we go along. Ignacy, that's the end of the show. Thank you, and thank all of our listeners. I think this has been great.
Thank you all. Have a great week, and talk to you next week.
Bye, all.